Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Storytelling with Ev, the place for aspiring writers or anyone who's just starting out on their book journey. So today is going to be, we're going to be talking about something that plagues most writers, at least most of the ones who are just starting out. And that's dealing with jealousy. I know that jealousy is something that can happen to anyone, and it's almost always because you're comparing yourself to other people. So I'm going to give you 3 great tips on how you can deal with that green-eyed monster. So, first of all, let's just be real. When you're comparing yourself to someone else, it's honestly, you cannot compare yourself. And that's a skill, and that's a skill that you really have to work on, because it's so easy nowadays to compare yourself to other people, especially on social media, any sort of social media. I grew up where my mom was constantly comparing me to someone else. And of course, I never measured up because, hey, I'm me and they're them. So that math equation does not work out. But that's the thing. You cannot compare yourself to other people. The only person you can compare yourself, if you're really desperate to compare yourself to someone, is yourself. And that's it. You can only compare yourself to who you were before. And I'm sure when you do that, you'll actually start to feel really good because you've grown since a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. That's amazing, and that is so needed. So remember this: if you're desperate to compare yourself to someone, compare yourself to who you were the day before, who you were a year before, who you were 5 years ago. You're gonna find yourself, you're gonna think, hey, you know what, I'm actually a lot further along than I thought. The next thing is, we're gonna flip the script a little bit. So instead of seeing someone and them having something that you've wanted, like say they received this amazing book award, who say they have 10 books under their belt, instead of being jealous of what they have, of wanting what they have, flip the script and start moving towards your own goals. If you admire someone who has written 50 books, start on your one. Start on your first book. And the more that you realize, you know what, that's something that you can aspire to. That person is someone that you can aspire to. Use them as a role model instead of thinking, hey, they have something that I don't have, and therefore that's so unfair, life sucks. All the thoughts that come into your mind when you're actually comparing yourself to someone else who is further ahead than you. They're further ahead in their own journey. You are where you're at in this moment. And that's okay, because you get to decide what you want to do in this moment and go from there. Use them as a role model, so when you think, hey, you know what, they've written 50 books, I'm going to make a goal for myself to write 10 books. And who knows, you might surpass that goal. And like I said in the first point, you can start comparing yourself to your former self. And when you're on your 10th book, you can think, oh my God, who was I back then when I was just starting out on my first book, right? So it's a great way to flip this, to change things up, to change your perspective. Because when you shift your perspective and thinking, instead of that person has something that I don't have, think of them as, oh my gosh, that's something that I can work towards. And that changes everything. You won't feel that horrible feeling in your chest anymore, that feeling of oh God, I wish I had that. Instead of wishing, you can just go out and get it. It's simple as that. And most importantly, we gotta work on that insecurity, all right? And that's some deep work right there. But it's okay, because shifting your mindset isn't something that you can do overnight necessarily, especially if you've dealt with what I had to deal with in terms of having someone comparing you to someone else and you never measuring up as a result. What I found has helped me is journaling things out just so that you can get all out onto the page so they're not clouding your head and they're not just, those thoughts aren't just recycling themselves all the time. Meditation helps as well. Meditation helps me to just realize that everything that I'm feeling, you know what? That's just my ego going crazy up there. And that's just what happens sometimes. And that happens sometimes, which is okay. We have our ego for a reason. But the thing is to not let it continuously drive the car. That's the thing. Get outside and get into nature. It's so nice to disconnect from social media because social media is generally at the core of our issues, where we're seeing what other people are doing. We're seeing what other people have. And we're constantly thinking, hey, you know what? That's so unfair. I don't have that. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And comparisonitis comes along. Get out in nature and just really feel connected to something other than your phone. And I know for some people that's a really hard practice, but it is so important because that's exactly what we need right now. Instead of being super connected to our phones and just letting that comparisonitis come up, it's like the worst feeling ever. Put your phone down, take a break, go outside. I hope it's sunny where you are, or if you want, do some snow angels if it's snowing in your area too. But most of all, just put the phone down, and that will help with the comparisonitis so much. I promise you that. If you have any issues with your writing fears, if you're dealing with writing fears, I've got a great video for you to check out on how to actually 5 ways to deal with your writing fears. Or if you just need a meditation to get through some of the anxiety that you're feeling, check out the meditation that I've created here for you. Thanks for watching.